dive in. Nvidia.ai. A meeting with the president. Sounds like a recipe for a pretty interesting deep dive, don't you think?
Well, absolutely. We've got some serious intrigue brewing in the tech world.
For sure. And we've got a tech news article here that's hinting at some pretty big potential shakeups.
Definitely a good one to unpack.
Yeah. So right off the bat, this meeting between President Trump and Jensen Huang, Nvidia's CEO, the article calls it a good meeting, which honestly doesn't tell us much, does it?
Right. Good meeting. What does that even mean? But seriously, when you consider what's at stake here, Nvidia's basically the king of AI hardware right now.
And with the U.S. and China, in this tech race everyone's talking about.
Exactly. It makes this meeting particularly noteworthy, let's say.
Totally. And the article just mentions AI policy and semiconductors as the topics. I mean, that could be anything.
Right. It's like they're deliberately keeping things vague.
Okay, so let's try to read between the lines here. Export controls on AI chips. That seems to be the big elephant in the room.
Yeah, that's the issue that has everyone on edge. Basically, the U.S. is trying to limit the sale of these advanced AI chips to certain countries.
To keep that technological edge.
Exactly. And China is, well, let's just say they're not too happy about it.
For good reason, I guess, if these chips are as important as everyone says.
Oh, they're absolutely vital. NVIDIA's chips are powering so much of the AI development happening globally. The article even mentioned they could lose like $10 billion in sales if they can't sell to China.
Wow, $10 billion. That's massive. But hold on, why should I, the average person, care about these export controls? Like, how does this affect me?
That's a great question. It's easy to think of this as some kind of abstract tech battle, but it actually has the potential to impact all of us. Think about it. AI is already everywhere, from your phone to your car to, the recommendations you get online.
True. I do love a good personalized recommendation.
Right. Well, if this AI chip battle keeps escalating, it could actually slow down AI progress overall.
Interesting. Less progress, fewer cool new AI gadgets for me.
Potentially, yeah. And it could even lead to different incompatible AI systems developing, like one for the U.S. and one for China.
Okay, now that sounds a little scary.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. But on a more immediate level, these export controls could actually make the tech you use every day more expensive.
Yeah, see, now you're talking my language.
Yeah.
Hitting me where it hurts my wallet.
Right. So yeah, these export controls have the potential to ripple outward and affect us all in different ways. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Absolutely. Now, buried in the comments section of the article, there was this mention of a company called DeepSeek. Someone was saying they could be a real rival to Nvidia, especially with these export controls in play.
Ah, yes, DeepSeek. They're a Chinese AI hardware company. They've actually been making some pretty impressive strides lately, and, this whole situation with the U.S. could actually give them a boost.
You mean like an advantage? How so?
Well, if China can't get the best chips from Nvidia, they're going to have to look for alternatives, right? And DeepSeek is right there, ready to fill that gap. Plus, there's this whole national pride thing going on in China right now. Made in China 2025 and all that.
Yeah, I've heard that phrase. So basically, the U.S. trying to hold back China could end up backfiring and create an even stronger competitor.
It's definitely a possibility. It's almost like unintended consequences, like they're trying to protect their lead, but might actually be accelerating the rise of their rival.
It's like a tech version of that old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole situation so fascinating. It's not just about chips and algorithms. It's about global power dynamics and the future of technology itself.
And speaking of global power dynamics, let's talk about President Trump's push for more U.S.-based chip manufacturing. Made in America is a catchy slogan, but is it actually realistic? Building these advanced chip factories, isn't that like crazy expensive and complicated?
It definitely is. It's not just about slapping a Made in America sticker on a product. It requires massive investment, cutting-edge technology, a highly skilled workforce, not something you can just conjure up overnight.
So what's the current state of U.S. chip manufacturing? Are we even in the game anymore?
We do have some capabilities, but we're definitely behind. Intel, for example, is a major player, and they do have some advanced chip-making facilities here in the U.S.
Oh, right, Intel. So we're not starting from scratch then?
Not entirely, but even Intel's capacity might not be enough to meet the demand, especially if the U.S. is serious about reshoring chip production. Plus, there's this whole ecosystem that needs to be built around chip manufacturing suppliers, specialized equipment, research institutions.
So it's a long road ahead, even if the U.S. is determined to bring back chip manufacturing. But what are the alternatives? Like, could the U.S. just team up with other countries to get the chips they need?
That's definitely an option on the table. Strengthening alliances with countries like Japan and South Korea, for example, who also have advanced chip-making industries.
Sort of a strength in numbers approach.
Exactly. It could help reduce reliance on any one particular source, and it could also create a united front against China's growing influence in the semiconductor world.
Interesting. So it's not just about going it alone. It's about strategic partnerships and maybe playing a little bit of geopolitical chess. Right.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole situation so complex and, frankly, fascinating. You've got these competing interests, technological advancements happening at breakneck speed, and these geopolitical tensions simmering in the background.
Yeah, it's like a high-stakes poker game where everyone's holding their cards close to their chest, and we're just trying to figure out who's bluffing and who's got the winning hand.
Exactly. It's a game with global consequences, and the stakes are only getting higher.
We've got a secretive meeting, potential export restrictions that could shake up the entire tech industry, a Chinese competitor on the rise, and the U.S. scrambling to reclaim its chip-making dominance.
It's a lot to unpack, that's for sure, and we've only just scratched the surface. It really is a fascinating time to be following all this. AI, geopolitics, it's all connected. But let's zoom out for a second and think about what this all means for the average person.
Yeah, okay. Good idea. So paint a picture for me. If this whole AI chip tug-of-war keeps going, how could it actually affect me, in my daily life?
Well, you've got to remember that AI is already a part of so much of what we use every day. Your phone, your car.
Oh, and don't forget those personalized recommendations.
Yeah.
I love those.
Right. Exactly. Well, imagine a world where those technologies start to diverge,
Yeah.
like based on where the AI comes from.
Okay, diverging technologies. That sounds a little bit sci-fi. What would that actually look like, practically speaking?
Think about like your smart home devices. What if they suddenly couldn't talk to each other because some were running on American AI and others on Chinese AI?
Oh, wow. I see what you mean. That would be a pain.
Right. Or imagine your self-driving car can't navigate in certain countries because the AI isn't compatible with the local infrastructure.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Suddenly this isn't just some abstract geopolitical thing anymore.
Exactly. It could have a real impact on how we live and interact with technology, and that's why this whole meeting between Trump and Jensen Huang is so important.
It's like a sign that things are getting serious.
Definitely. The U.S. is clearly taking this competition very seriously, and it puts Nvidia right in the middle of it all.
Oh, for sure. They're like the key player in all this.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the article also mentioned Trump pushing for more U.S.-based chip manufacturing, bringing those jobs back home. Sounds good on paper, but is it actually feasible?
It's a tough one. Building these advanced chip factories, those fabs, it takes years.
Yeah, and billions of dollars.
Oh, absolutely billions. Plus, you need that cutting-edge tech, a highly skilled workforce.
Not to mention all the suppliers and everything else that goes along with it.
You got it. It's a whole ecosystem, so it's a massive undertaking, not something you can just flip a switch and make happen overnight.
Gotcha. So if building new fabs from scratch is that challenging, what are the alternatives? Like, could the U.S. just team up with other countries, to get the chips they need?
Yeah, that's definitely an option. Strengthening those alliances with countries like Japan, South Korea, places that have those advanced chip-making capabilities.
Like a united front kind of thing?
Exactly. It could help reduce that reliance on one single source. And, it could also create that united front against China, in the semiconductor world.
Interesting. So instead of going it alone, maybe it's smarter to build a coalition.
Right. It's all about strategy, finding that balance between protecting your own interests, but also fostering that global collaboration.
Making sure everyone benefits.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole situation so complex. It's not just about the technology. It's about geopolitics, economics. It's all intertwined.
We've got the secretive meeting, potential export restrictions that could, completely reshape the tech landscape, a Chinese competitor on the rise, and then the U.S. trying to reclaim that chip-making dominance.
It's a lot, and it makes you wonder, what are the long-term implications of all this? Like, what kind of world are we creating with all this focus on competition?
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in all the technical details and the political maneuvering.
Right. But there's a bigger picture here. We're talking about the future of technology and ultimately the future of humanity.
That's pretty deep. So maybe we should take a step back and consider, like the ethical implications of all this,
Yeah.
beyond just the competition aspect.
Absolutely. That's something we can't afford to ignore.
So where do we even begin with the ethics of AI? I mean, it's such a vast and complex topic.
It really is, but I think a good place to start is with the potential downsides, even beyond this whole competition between the US and China.
Right. Yeah. Downsides.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, one of the big concerns with AI is job displacement. As AI gets more sophisticated, it's going to automate certain tasks, and that could lead to, job losses.
yeah, the robots are going to take our jobs. I've heard that one before.
Right. It's a common fear, and it's not entirely unfounded, but it's also more nuanced than that.
Okay, so it's not just a simple case of robots replacing humans.
No, no. I mean, yes, some jobs will inevitably be automated, but AI is also going to create new opportunities,
Yeah.
new jobs, whole new industries that we can't even imagine yet.
So it's more about adaptation than just outright fear.
Exactly. It's about being prepared, investing in education and training, focusing on the skills that AI can't replicate.
Like, what kind of skills are we talking about?
Things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, those uniquely human abilities.
So it's not about fearing AI. It's about figuring out how we can work with it, how we can use it to enhance our own capabilities.
Exactly. It's a collaboration, not a competition.
I like that. But what about the potential for misuse? I mean, we've already seen examples of AI being used for surveillance, for manipulating people's opinions.
Yeah, you're right. That's a huge concern, and it's something we need to be very careful about. I mean, how do we ensure that AI is used ethically, responsibly?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, and it's one that doesn't have easy answers. It's going to require a multifaceted approach. We need clear regulations, ethical guidelines.
Right, like rules of the road for AI.
Exactly. We need transparency, accountability, and most importantly, we need to have a public conversation about all of this.
Just to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. So that we can, collectively shape the future of AI in a way that benefits humanity.
It's a tall order, but it sounds like it's absolutely crucial.
It is. We're at a pivotal moment right now. The decisions we make today will have a profound impact on how AI shapes our society for generations to come.
Wow. When you put it like that, it really put things into perspective.
Yeah, this isn't just about some tech industry shakeup. This is about the future of our world.
Well, this deep dive has certainly been a journey. We started with a meeting, and we ended up talking about, like, the fate of humanity.
It's amazing how these things connect, isn't it? You start pulling on one thread, and suddenly you're unraveling the whole tapestry.
That's a great way to put it. So as we wrap up here, what's the one message you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
I'd say stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. The future of AI is not predetermined. It's something we're all creating together. So let's make sure we're asking the right questions, demanding accountability, and working to ensure that AI is used to empower humanity, not to diminish it.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been an eye-opening conversation. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back soon with more fascinating explorations at the intersection of technology, society, and the future.